God damn, Mr. Worldwide here. Shoo. Have fun, man. Have fun. Take care. Also, yo! Yeah, I kind of understand what you mean, Lucas. I can see why it gets, it affected some parts badly. But not really. Yeah, basically. Bow, 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 bow. No! Shit. Sounds an actual jammer. Like if you use CEST, so summertime all year long, in winter you'd wake up at 6 or 7 and it's completely dark for a long time during the first half of the day, and that affects work motivation and then the money flow and blah 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 chicka chicka bum bum. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Definitely. Definitely like a normal functioning human being needs sunlight to work, to go to work or to, to function. I don't, because I'm a degen, but normal human being do need sunlight. Most people do. I probably do as well, but I'm just too lazy. Damn me early. Welcome, Psyche. Welcome to the early squad. Oh shit. Ah, okay. Oh my god. Ugh. Does Twitch only have closed caption? Oh, that's just my overlay extension. You can disable it. Yeah, it's exclusive for. I added it exclusively as an extension because I saw some people actually use it, even though it's not that good. But regardless. Ah. Para. Anyways, how you guys doing today, people? Good day, good day. You guys doing today? Lucas, Zay, and Psyche. Oh my god, this song, dude. Do I need to learn the whole song for this? The whole guitar part for this song? I want to do the full cover.
By the way, I did the cover of this song on Twitter and Instagram. Check it out. Leave me pathway to the paralyzed. Unable to solve this puzzle box. Bam 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 bam. Right, you're so hot. No, you are so hot. Yes, you. You're right. Can I show you my friend's music? Sure. I always like to listen to some new songs. You have 1.5k songs in your playlist? Really? That's the Rat's Daily Beats is basically anything that I found good, regardless of the genre or the mood. I had it there. That's why I have a separated playlist called Rat Trap and Chill. That one specifically for cozy time. And then just chillin', which is just very just chatting song, I guess. Oh my god, no. Whoa, wait. There's a music video of it? Okay. Let's see. I'm not gonna get copyrighted, right? Copyright strike. Okay. Let's see. Alex Bourne. Sounds dope. Check it out real quick. Ooh, the vibe. Ooh. Okay.
Knowing my heart, it's an awkward work of art. Zillion thought I'm not alright, it's just a thought.
I thought that was the lyric.
But don't get mad, I'm just as selfish as you are. I'm just like that, too bad to make it right. You don't have the courage to say most boys
Oh, this is chill.
hate you anyway. And so you drink this
Oh, I'm gonna refresh my alert. Don't panic with the alert stuff. Alright, alright.
Just drown while you float. I'm just a hole to another universe.
Holy shit, the vibe. Are you telling me he also make the fucking music video? Oh my god, oh my god. That's actually fucking vibe. Written, produced, filmed, directed, and edited by Alex Bourne. Holy shit, man. Subbed. Liked. God damn! Okay. Okay. That's actually fucking vibe. Thank you. Actually nice. Bum, 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 bum. What kind of genre is that though? That was actually pretty nice.
Open the door or I'm gonna throw rocks through your windows, you dumb whore.
No, no. Oh, my second place. Okay, you guys. Wait, did the alert fucked? I don't see the third one. Oh, it's just you. Okay, wait, what? Why do I see? Whoa, whoa, whoa! Whoa, what the? Okay, I think you guys just broke my fucking alert. Alright. Jesus Christ. Hold up. Jesus. Oh my god!
Dude, the thing that everybody... Onion ring! I got an onion ring!
Open the door or I'm gonna throw rocks through your windows, you dumb whore.
Snip, snap! Yeah!
Oh my god.
Snip, snap!
It's gotta be
Yeah! I'm not a weeb.
20.
I'm not a weeb. I guess... As I watch one anime here, one anime... I'm not a weeb. I'm not a weeb. I'm not a weeb. I guess... As I watch
I'm
one
gonna
anime
have
here,
20
one anime,
fucking
I'm not a
alerts. The gifted doesn't render the gift, I guess. It's gonna be 20 alerts, man. Oh my god, you guys. Wait, I fucked up. No, shit. Well, hold up. Oh my god, okay.
I'm not a weeb.
You guys actually broke the alert.
As I watch one anime here, one anime, I'm not a weeb.
What the hell, man? I have a cat icon beside my name now. Yes, sir.
As I watch one anime here, one anime, I'm not a weeb.
God. Why the fuck XQC alerts so common?
Open the door or I'm gonna throw rocks through your windows, you dumb whore.
Snip, snap! Yeah!
Jesus Christ, it's gonna take a while, man. Alright,
Dude, the thing that everybody.
I cannot even
Onion,
thank you guys
the
yet.
onion ring. I got an onion ring.
I got an onion ring.
Oh, dude, the thing that everybody. Onion, the onion ring. I got an onion ring.
Oh my fucking god.
Snip, snap. Yeah.
You need more video? I know.
Oh my ball. Dude, the thing that everybody.
I've been planning to shuffle it,
Onion,
but
the onion
I
ring. I
haven't got
onion
time
ring.
to do it. Oh my god.
Open the door or I'm going to throw rocks through your windows, you dumb whore. Open the door or I'm going to throw rocks through your windows, you dumb whore.
Snip, snap.
Where's where's Optimum Pride? And stuff like
Open
that.
the door or I'm going to throw rocks through your windows, you dumb whore.
It's so fucking. Some of the allergies don't pop up. Oh, there you go. There's
Shampoo.
another one.
Shampoo.
Oh my god.
Snip, snap. Yeah.
Shampoo.
Up,
Shampoo.
ship up. More. Why is it so much? How
Open the door
20.
or I'm going to throw rocks through your windows, you dumb whore.
Putang ina!
How?
Si Optimum Pride!
Why the fuck? The hype
Putang
train
ina,
is still not
Optimum
enough.
Pride.
That was a shit tons of subs. What the fuck? Is that it? Okay. Jesus Christ. Wait, I thought that was enough to fulfill the hype train. Thank you so much though for the fucking Shiba. No with the 3 and 20 gifted subs. And Lucas with the 5 gifted subs. Jesus fucking Christ. You guys are fucking nuts. Thank you. Don't have to. That's a lot, man. Oh my god. Appreciate that much love. You need 3 people for Hype Train? Ah, you didn't tell me. I would have gift subs for some of you guys who did. Alright, next time I see it, I'm gonna take it. Thank you though. Holy shit, what the fuck was that? Why? That's for the leaderboard. Oh my god. Anyway, thank you, and everyone who got the gifted sub, enjoy your sub emotes, including Psyche who's in the chat. Enjoy. You also got a Schmorket, Schmorleo, besides your name now. Nice. Oh my god. Jesus, my fucking ear, man. I need to readjust the volume there. The Schnipp Schnapp is way too fucking loud. It's way too fucking loud. Islanda, what happened? Nono and Lucas gifted a shit ton of subs. Because they're too fucking nice. God damn it. Thank you. Once again, appreciate it. You guys are too nice. Thank you. Much love. Mwah. You guys are having a good day. Okay? Oh my...
I'm not a weeb. I'm not a weeb. I guess I watch one anime here, one anime. I'm not a weeb. What the fuck? I'm not a weeb. I'm not a weeb. I guess I watch one anime here, one anime. I'm not a weeb.
I gotta call 1 second.
Open the door or I'm going to throw rocks through your windows, you dumb whore.
Alright, chat. Oh my god, dude.
Oh, my ball.
My fucking... My drink just got here.
Dude, the thing that everybody... onion ring. I got an onion ring.
One second. Hold up. Let me... God damn it.
Snip, snap.
Yeah. 1 second. Give me a sec.
Oh, my ball. Dude, the thing that everybody... onion ring. I got an onion ring. Snip, snap. Yeah. Snip, snap. Yeah. Snip, snap. Yeah.
Open the door or I'm going to throw rocks through your windows, you dumb whore.
Shampoo. Shampoo.
Snip, snap. Yeah.
Open the door or I'm going to throw rocks through your windows, you dumb whore.
Oh my god, so cold.
Dude, the thing that everybody... onion ring. I got an onion ring.
1 sec.
Shampoo. Shampoo.
Oh god. Fucking sprinted. Oh my fucking god. Why are you guys... Oh, catch a break. I have €3 in the bank left. God damn it, man. Thank you though, appreciate it, you guys. Fucking 71 subs. You guys killed my fucking goal again. What is going on here? Okay, listen.
My water disappeared.
What the fuck?
I'm not a weeb. I'm not a weeb. I guess I watch one anime here, one anime. I'm not a weeb.
I'm gonna... You gotta make me actually have to add some fucking new alerts. Oh fuck. No. Hey, whoa, what the fuck? Oh my god. Alright. Jesus Christ. Dude, I cannot... How many more was that? Lucas with 17, 18, 19 gifted sub, and Nono with additional 2. I don't know, you get... Okay.
Open the door or I'm going to throw rocks through your windows, you dumb whore.
You fucks need to stop. Oh my god. Listen. Listen. 69. Oh my fucking god. Of course he's aiming for 69. And like, okay, hold up. That was... Thank you. Thank you, No with 23 to 25, 27. Oh my fucking...
Shampoo.
me fucking count! Oh my God. Everyone stop gifting. No, thank you for the 20, 20, 30, 33, 25, 27 gifted subs. And Lucas with a 20, 17, 5, 23, 27, 28. 28 gifted sub. I don't fucking know, dude. You guys are fucking. What? No one lost. Both of you are fucking champion right now. Jesus Christ. Thank you fucking so much. Oh my God. I mean, dude, I don't get gifted a lot like this every fucking day. Thank you so much. You guys are fucking. What do you guys want, huh? What? You want your name on my chest, huh? Let me get a Sharpie. Jesus Christ! Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Really do. That's a lot of gifted sub. And of course, congratulations for everyone who have got the gifted subs in the chat. Dude, 76 people subbed to my fucking 11 viewers stream. All right. 90% of them is not in the chat right now. But congratulations anyway. I love you guys. Thank you. You don't have to do this, but I appreciate every single one of them. Thank you. Appreciate it. Much love. Oh my God, what is this? Oh, it's Obama. Shh.
Now Red has to give the gifters feed Pixie as we can.
No. But thank you. Once in with a 200. I mean Obama, I'm sorry. Obama. With a 200 gemstones. Appreciate it. Man. I need water. 1 second. Holy shit. What the hell, man? Now it's a scam train. I think it's like my second ever hype train, or I mean scam train in this channel. Thank you guys all. Appreciate it, much love. Dude, we've been live for 40 minutes, and half of that was the fucking alerts showing up in a fucking stream. I haven't even started my drawing yet. Jesus Christ. Oh my!
I'm not a weeb.
Oh my!
I'm not a weeb. I guess I watch one anime here, one anime. I'm not a weeb.
Iru! Monoga Aru! Bro, okay, chill, bro. Chill. Thank you, but chill. I'm sorry, no sharing. Alright, no, I didn't promise any fit peaks. Shut the fuck up. That's just one sin. No. I didn't say anything, alright? That was Obama, alright? No fit peaks. Fit peaks, stay in the other website. Wing. What? Okay. Once again, appreciate it. Thank you guys all so much. Or I don't even know. Fucking so many. That was so many subs. I don't even know how to fucking count anymore. That was a lot. Like, both of you probably 30 something in total now. Thank you, thank you. Go treat yourself something, okay? You guys.
Now draw me explicit Rin content on stream.
Unfortunately, as much as I want to do that, I cannot do that. All right. Sorry, but I'll give that in mind. Other side, I'll leave. What? Huh? What? You're rich. Buy me a mic. You don't need a mic, man. Your mic is fucking perfect, Zay. I'm telling you, fucking perfect. Oh my fucking god. Thank you all. Thank you. You ignore my sketch submission. No, I don't ignore. It's a long queue. Okay, you know what? Let's do a fucking sketch request today. Let's do a sketch request. Okay. Let's do a sketch request. Let's do the queue. Let's do the queue. Sketch request turn. Jesus fucking Christ. Ay, Fuyo. Oh my god. Once again, thank you. Appreciate it. Not every day I can get to like this fucking level 2 scam trade. Thank you, thank you. Some feet stuff. Okay. I'm sorry to let you down, but I actually don't know how to draw feet. I don't think I've ever drawn them in the past couple of years. I'm not joking. I actually don't know how to draw feet. Okay. 1 second. Jesus Christ. My brain's malfunctioning right now. Hey, everyone got a hype trade emote. Congratulations. Woo! Thank you. Review. Alright, let's actually draw something right now. Jesus Christ.
Radu, maybe you don't know how to draw feet, but your mom knows how to use hers.
Okay, good one. Fuck. Good one! Fuck, that was actually a good one. I'll give you that. God damn it. Aish. Hey, bro. Okay, dude. Take your time. Dude, fucking. I don't know. Let me actually draw. My brain's lagging right now. Alright, let me change the title as well. Sketch requests. No, sketch stream. Yeah, sketch request stream. Sketch. Wait, was that the name? Sketch me something. Yeah, I'll just call that. All right, there we go. Explicit Rin where? Okay, listen, I cannot do that on stream, you know. But does not mean I cannot do it. What? What? Huh? Listen, my explicit drawings is not that good. All right, I'm just telling, just saying. Huh?
Okay. First sketch. One sin, by the way, one sin, since you're here, you actually have 2 requests that just say, before you do smiley face, and then free art go brr. And then it's nothing. It's just, I think you didn't put what you want me to draw in the redeem. You put it in the chat. So I don't know what you requested. So do let me know what you want me to sketch and I'll take notes for that one. By the way, welcome, Nell. Thank you. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. Just put them together as Yuri. Okay. Noted, noted. Okay. The fuck is this? Okay, let's go to the oldest. Wait, I think we already did Astolfo Leo. Gara requested Astolfo Leo. Yeah, I already did that. Hold up, let me show you guys. Since I already did that, I guess maybe that is the request that I forgot to clean up, maybe. Where is it? Sketches. There you go. That's Astolfo Leo. Requested by Jix before, and I guess Gara wanted to see it as well. What's up, Hadian? Polyphia? No, this one's not Polyphia. This is Elf and Jim. But we did play some Polyphia. Dude, Polyphia just dropped a new song. Just called Playing God. It's a song that I teased 2 years ago. They just released it today, and it was so fucking good, bruh. I put it on loop for a couple hours earlier. You guys can type an exclamation song in the chat to see what song, to know what song that is playing right now. No, it's not Sean. Elf and Jim. Elf and Jim, if you like Chon, you will like Elf and Jim as well. They're like one of my favorite they're one of my favorite math rock band. I think they're from Taiwan. Fucking sexy. Their collection are good stuff. Welcome, welcome, by the way. People who just got into the stream, welcome, welcome. Okay, let's see. By the way, this is such a good drawing of the Leo Stolfo. I should probably make this into an emote. Raddtrap Stolfo. Just Leo with a Stolfo wig. This is a potential emote. I'm not gonna lie. Because I'm not gonna lie. This is like one of the best hairdo that I've drawn. Actually, pretty nice. Okay. What else? What else? Oh my god. Okay, this is an interesting request. Huh? Okay. Someone requested
Rhea in Chinese dress. Oh god. Okay. Cultured. You know what? I gotta say, pretty cultured. Nice taste, nice taste. That's gotta be a challenge though. But I'll give it a try. Brad, have you seen the new Avatar movie trailer? Yes, we actually watched it yesterday. It's pretty good. It was, you know. To be fair, it was just a teaser trailer, so we don't really see a lot in that trailer. But for what it was actually pretty good. You know, actually pretty nice. I'll give him that. I'll give him that. I'm saving for end stream redeem. you might. Okay, you're not the only one actually. I think Sudo also saving up for that. You dedicated motherfuckers. I don't know how long this is gonna take you, but good luck. Good luck. Okay. I might be able to use some of the VR chat references for this one since I think we got that. Modified Cheongsam dress. What is that? Oh, is this like the name of? Holy shit! Oh my god, there's a lot of nice reference here. Oh, this is such a pretty dress. Cheongsam or Kipao. Interesting, interesting. Thank you. I never really know what it's called. Today I learn. Hi, what's up, Panda? Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Okay. Let's see. I'm not really skilled when it comes to like dress, so pardon me. Yeah, this is gonna be like one of my first time. Please be gentle, huh? Okay. Hold up. Let me switch to a little chill song. No. Let's do Rustboro. Jesus Christ, dude. I need to take a breather after all that. What the fuck, man? The popular ones on the net are modern ones with sexier vibes. Oh yeah, trust me, I've seen some of them. All right, I've seen some of them. Let me tell you that much. I roam. Yeah, I mean, yeah. 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 At this rate, dude, I think getting the GPU should be sooner than expected. Jesus. Hopefully. Whoa, Jenny. With a request, Vincent Van Gogh, Starry Night. Are you shitting my ass? Jenny! Oh my god. What the fuck? Alright. Okay. Interesting requests. Definitely within my scope of skill. I'll see what's up, yeah. I'll see what's up. I need boobs on my ass. Ha! Nice. You have a Discord server. I could post it there. Go ahead. Please do. Please do. We do have a Discord server to share. Well, a lot of stuff actually. Some people share their art. Some people share their food. Some people share their pets or animals. We got all the section for everyone. So if you got something, please do share in the Discord. Although please do keep it, okay, like I said, read the rules, keep it NSF, you know, safe for work, okay? Show my joints, switch joints. Good one. Hello, what's up, Saints? Welcome to the stream. Share my free Bing. Ooh. All of them. You guys. Sorry for the sudden genre change for music. Since we're trying to draw something elegant, I need this vibe right now. If I could drop my join, Nono had to leave the 69 squad just to be soul number 2. Wait, what's the leaderboard now? 70, 16. Jesus Christ, you two. Aren't you guys? Oh my god. You guys gifted more than 30. I don't know, dude. I lost count. You guys gifted so fucking much. Jesus. Barely function, man. Thank you, though. Thank you. Appreciate it. Is this Loop Hero? No, this is from Final Fantasy 9. It's called Vamos a la Flamenco. As you can hear, the flamenco reference. Not flamingo, flamenco. Flamenco? I don't know pronunciation. Blame Red for not giving me feet. What do you mean? No matter how much, it's not part of the deal. There's no such thing. It's just Obama, okay? Obama said that does not mean it's true, okay? Fact check everything. Alright? Fucking Obama. America. Yeah, I think that's good. Gonna play some DVD, so half lurking a bit. Alright. Enjoy your game. Once again, thank you, Lucas, for a shit ton amount of gifted sub. Thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. Jesus, man. Okay, this is not the song that I was looking for. Matane. It's kind of chill though. All right. Mm. Hmm. Oh. Was that it? Oh shit. No, my bike is... Okay, I gotta move my bike in the parking lot. Someone in front of my bike wanna get out and cannot. Okay. God damn it. Alright, 1 second chat. I'll be back. Give me like 5 minutes. I should have parked a little bit deeper. I knew it's gonna be in the way. Who is going out at this hour, by the way? Like 9 p.m. Puppy ready, daddy. What's up, Farah? How you doing? Welcome to the stream. Alright. Give me a sec, chat. 1 second. Okay. I'm back. Okay, this song is not working. Alright. Let's go back to let's listen to Playing God again. Okay. What is Red drawing? What's up, Yui? Right now I am drawing Rhea in Chinese dress. What is it called again? Kipao? Or something like that? Well, obviously modified, so not gonna be exactly like that. How you doing though, by the way? What's up, what's up? Hmm. Hey. Daddy Trap Poppy. Yeah. What's up, Farah? How you doing? I'm not muted, right? I'm not muted. Okay. Alright, trauma. Ah.
Draw a cat for me, then delete it after a this. There you go. Okay, I want to redraw the eye. Oh my god, I drew in one layer again. As always. I always forgot about that. Of course. Much love. Woo! Ba-da-ba-da. No, I actually never really draw this kind of dress, so gonna be a lot of trial and error here. Hopefully not too much. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. I'm gonna do this one. I'm not sure if this is like what Nell was talking about, but I kind of like this design. It's a hole. Bam, 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 bam.
Ba-da-da. Boom. Oh, this is actually kind of nice. Can already see how it's gonna look like. Let's just let it drip like so. I think I gotta draw it a little bit longer. Hold up. Shmoy. Shmoy. Nothing wrong? Nothing wrong with what? Hold up, so loud. The opposite of Ada Wong? Ooh, okay, I can see that. Digga 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 digga. Digga 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 digga. I can see that. Digga digga. Dear GigaChat, I would like to inform you that my country has a dairy product brand called Sissy, and a candy brand that's literally the Nice! Very informative. Thank you. GigaChat. I like how you have to include GigaChat on that one. Oh my god, this is very nice. What the fuck? I actually like where this is going. The fuck? It's kind of cute. GigaChat. Hungarians kind of is part of EU? Yes. Yes, but no, but kind of yes, basically. Basically. BZ. Are you kidding me? I drawn the wrong layer twice? Holy shit, I'm so fucking bad.
go. EU request denied. Oh my god, she's so pretty. Holy shit. I like this so much. What the fuck? Boom. Forgot who requested this. Pain. Holy shit. I should have done this faster. This is good. I'm actually liking this right now. Okay, but for real, Hungary is EU member, but very limited power since their recent statement supporting Russia and their decision not backing up EU. Ooh, well, that's kind of sucks, dude. The EU hates us for pretty much everything we do, molding because we're not on their leash. Jesus. Just don't want to tension EU economy. Ah. Nell, very knowledgeable. Very nice. My ear. Ba 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 ba. Ba da 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 da. Da 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 I'll never get my game beneath the skin.
to the paradise. And it's so darkness goes box. And it turns out the puffs. Support the Ukrainians who wants to escape, not keep the fight going as much as it's like our president. That's a smart move. Actually, Hungary is like position. Yeah, it's pretty, you know. Yeah. Ow! Fuck! Ah, shit! I just scratched an old wound. Fuck! Oh, shit. Ow, 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 ow. Oh, shit.
Rad for the new president in 2024 lol.
No thanks. If I become a president, everyone can free cat girls for everyone. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. And maybe free games once a week. Yeah, on Epic. On raddtrap games. Yeah, I'm gonna make my own platform. Free games every week. Sometimes you get 2 free games. Wow. Isn't that amazing? So dumb. I think it should be around here, right? Pussy? Cock? Both. Yeah, we're allied with Russia so we can straight up against them. We're just adding fuel to the fire. I'm learning here. I'm learning. We have see us when running down. You check link? No, not yet, not yet. Hold up, yeah. We have Oh, by the way, chat, later on React Andy, remind me to watch the Gotham Knight gameplay trailer, yeah? Apparently yesterday they just released a 16 minutes gameplay. And I missed the whole thing. I forgot who reminded me at the end of the stream. So, although my friend did said he Pepe laughed the whole time, I was like, ooh, okay. It's so bad? Oh, no. I guess we'll have to find out. Yeah, remind me later. Oh no. Gotham Knight. To be fair, I don't really care about the game because I'm not really a big fan of the Batman in general. But Arkham Knight was a really good game, right? So, you know, fucking Rocksteady. You know, it's Rocksteady, right? Gotham Knight is Rocksteady, right? Hold up. I might be wrong. Hold up. Gotham. Nice. Oh, no, it's not. Ooh, wait. Which game that was developed by Rocksteady? Oh, that's Suicide Squad. Okay, I'm a hype about the Suicide Squad because it's Rocksteady. I'm a huge fan of the Arkham series gameplay, the game. Warner Bros. Montreal make what do they make? Oh, they make the Arkham Origins. And then Lego Legend of Chima. Who? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one. Oh no. Origin also is not the best in the Arkham series anyway. I would say Arkham Knight is definitely the best. And then Arkham Asylum and City is kind of like number 2. I don't know. I can't decide. It's just a different game. Arkham Cities have more open, you know, open world vibe. While Arkham Asylum is a level base, but it has a very solid level design. And the puzzles are very fun. So I can really decide. Alfred, what is sex? I'm on a date with Catwoman and she's acting weird, saying she's in heat. What should I do? I'm nervous. Alfred.
Alfred, I'm trying to sneak into the enemy base, but the clap of my cheeks keep alerting the guards. What should I do? I know that's Solid Snake, but I don't know. I just gotta do it. Snake? Snake! Cat chess, Catwoman. Did you just add a new emote? Oh, what is this cat chess? Cat chess. That's so bad. I love it. Cat chest. Actually, chat. Does any of you guys have any excited games that you're waiting for? Upcoming games that you're really waiting for this year? I'm curious. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, right now, I don't have any games that I'm really hyped about. Like, it was Elden Ring, but then, you know, Elden Ring release, I was happy, bada bing, bada boom. And then, like, now what? Like, now what? I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be some more coming soon, but, like, you know, we still got a lot of announcement coming on June 9 and June 10. June 9 is Xbox and Bethesda showcase, and then June 10 is Summer Game Fest by Jeff Keighley. So back to back, we're gonna watch it on stream, by the way. That's gonna be a lot of announcement, which is gonna be fun. I'm expecting God of War gameplay in Summer Game Fest at least, because we haven't seen any gameplay from that game, only cutscene. I mean, there are some gameplay, but it's not like a gameplay, if that makes sense. It's just a clip of a gameplay. What is that saying? Oh my god, you gotta post another Lumphao. Lumphao! Do I even need to say it? Saints Row, of course. Are you actually like super hype or just like eh? Because I know a lot of the fans are kind of like eh about it. It's like at least it's Saints Row, I guess, because they changed the element, right? It's not the classic Saints Row that a lot of people were expecting, because they're changing the formula a little bit, which is fair, right? Which is fair. They're trying to do a new thing. I have tons of unfinished game. I don't care about another game to play or watch you play. Another new, I see. Definitely keeping an eye on Suicide Squad or Starfield. I'm a Saints Row slave, 100% it, even if it's painful. Jesus. No wonder Ubisoft really likes you, huh? Your company's going away, Saints. Ubisoft is going down. It's gone, man. It's gone soon. What do you guys think about the Ubisoft recent rumor about selling off the whole company? I think it's a good idea. I'm gonna be honest. I think it's better off this way, man. Honest. Suicide Squad killing Justice League 1, yeah. That, I'm just purely excited because it's Rocksteady. You know, still gotta be, you know, gotta wait for how it's gonna be. But you know, I played quite a few of their games, and Rocksteady have a very solid brawler. What do you call their games? Like, you know, the Arkham series formula is very good. Like, they just make good Arkham games. I actually enjoy every single Arkham games that I played, with Arkham Knight being one of my favorite, and we finished it on stream as well. So can't wait for Suicide Squad. The brother who previously ran the company want to fully buy it now. If that happens, nothing will change. The fuck? The brother buy it? What? Wait, why do you need to buy your own family member That's a fucked up family tree. Didn't you just give it? Because, you know, it's a company. Give some share. What I do know is that the son of the CEO bailed the fuck out of its own company. The son of the CEO, it was probably like, Dad, you're fucking lame. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here and make my own indie developer company. Adios. Like, the son's probably the actual Giga Chad here. His son knows what's up. They want to make it private so no one else can get it? That's kind of weird. That's actually kind of weird. Kind of weird, dude. But at the same time, not surprising. Cause it's Ubisoft. They've been doing this shit for years. I mean, decades. It's really a shame though. As much as I like to make fun of Ubisoft, they do have like a lot of really good IP that they just slowly kill to its death because they want more profit for less. You know what I mean? It's really sad. They wanna efficiently make games and get more money from it. Like, you just don't do that, man. That's not how you game company. I don't know. Kind of weird. I get it. You need to make profits. You have hundreds and thousands of employees, but you know, you can still make a shit ton of money without actually scamming your audience, you know? That's my concern about them. Cuz I genuinely love some of their fucking game. You know, like fucking Rainbow Six. I have a lot of memories with Rainbow Six Ghost Recon back in the Xbox 360. Playing it with my friends after school, visiting his house. And then what is the SWAT style one? I forgot what it's called. Was it Rainbow Six Vegas? I think it was Vegas, I'm not sure. I love Rainbow Six For Honor and The Division 2, but man, it's Ubisoft. True. For Honor was actually pretty fun. It was actually pretty fun. Like, it's actually like one of a kind-ish back then when it was first launching.
Like, you know, there's not a lot of games out there like that that is actually polished. But I remember back then it was a little bit unbalanced. I played it during beta, and it was like, and then the player base went down pretty fast on that game. Unfortunately, imagine if they sold it to make only NFTs like Square Enix. Dude, Square Enix also really scummy. Oh god. I don't understand with Square Enix. They built such a good reputation with Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, and so many Western companies that working for them. And they just fucking sell them all. Like recently they sold literally every single Western company. Oh god. Yua! Thank you for the raid. Welcome. Dong Slide. Welcome to the stream. Hope you had a good stream. How's your Apex grind? Did you still play Apex, Alien? Welcome. We're just drawing while talking about how shitty Ubisoft has become. To no surprise. Welcome everyone. Ubisoft has some of the most innovative once-in-a-lifetime games. They just don't care to keep making them. How many successfully copied AC Black Flag? None. Still the best pirate game? Yes. True. Good timing. Tried to, but it has 400, 600 ping and kicked me. So grinding Division 2. Oh shit! Talking about Division 2. We're talking about Ubisoft games. Yua is actually playing Division 2. Right now, he's grinding it. For the past couple days now. Division, also a pretty solid game. Is that the first game was a lot of scammers going on. You guys remember Division 2, Division 1 announcement trailer? The CGI one? And then they released a gameplay trailer that definitely looks gameplay, but all the gameplay did not end up in the final product. Remember that? Remember the fucking gameplay trailer where when you open the map, you don't really open a fucking brand new UI, you just like open a hologram in the world around your character. Like, it's so fucking cool and shit, like futuristic. And it's not in the final game. Oh man. I don't know, man. Fucking Ubisoft's such a fucking ass when it comes to that. Such an ass. Because Division 2 patch coming within 24 hours. Ah, I see. I'm pretty sure they ended up delivering a lot of the promises in Division 2. Like making Division 1 even better. So Division 2 is actually a good game. But a lot of people, including me, was not... I'm gonna be honest, the only reason I didn't bat an eye to Division 2, because Division 1 was a disappointment in my opinion, and I was like, I don't give a shit about that game. And then apparently it was a good game, but I just... Just unfortunate. Also hype for the promised gameplay. I know! It was such a solid looking gameplay. And we all fall for it. Like, oh my god, look at this sick ass gameplay, guys. Oh man. I remember when Division's open beta dropped and me and my friend unironically almost fell asleep, never touched since. Yeah. Ah. It's so sad. It's so sad, honestly. But yeah. That's just how Ubisoft is, unfortunately. That's just how they are. You know, you know. Oh my god, sorry. Hope I want to modify this real quick. Okay, I don't like that one. Ooh, is this? Oh wait, yes. There we go. Oh my god. I just doubled. Boba. Yeah, this is a lot better. They're kind of replicating the fall of Bethesda soon. Yeah. Although Bethesda got saved by Microsoft. You know? Microsoft basically gave their company a second chance in keep going in life. Technically speaking. Right? Division 2 dropped the bullet sponges, cover shooting, the boring art style, the obnoxious loot machine mechanics, boring characters, depressing map design. I probably play it, basically dropped the game. Yeah. Dude, oh, I remember that. Thank you for mentioning it. My biggest letdown when I played the beta for Division 1 was the bullet sponge. Oh my god. Like, I get it sometimes, like, that's just how the RPG mechanic is. It's because it's a, you know, a looter shooter RPG game. Like, you know, you customize your own agent to up to your own liking. But motherfucker, a fucking bandit with literally zero body armor is wearing a beanie and a fucking hoodie and fucking mask. I have to headshot him fucking 4 times because he's couple level above me or some shit. What? This is a real life setting. It's not a fantasy. Like, I'm shooting a fucking bandit, like some fucking drug addict on the street. He's probably trying to kill me to get some money to buy more drugs. And I have to headshot him like 4 times. And shoot his body like fucking 20 times to die. Like, what? Doesn't make sense. I get it, it's a game, but it kind of breaks my immersion when I played it. At least make them wear some kind of a, you know, scuffed armor to make it kind of make sense. Like some of the big guy with the big guns wear like those metal scuffed armor thingy, and they are tanky. That is acceptable. I don't know. I just cannot. I remember that that triggers me so much. A little bit too much, actually. Microsoft better buy Ubisoft. They're not gonna buy anymore. I think Microsoft is good with Bethesda. Marauders Close Alpha right now has the same thing. Wait, really? I was actually thinking about getting a Marauders just to play it on stream, but
I remember that the Southeast Asia server is probably dead, and I probably won't be able to get a game, so I'll just wait. Two-Face crackhead raid boss. Like, you know, I understand some people don't really care about it. Some people actually don't mind. But I don't know. It's a little bit immersion breaking for me. It's slightly annoying for me. It's not game breaking at all. No, no, no. They have a very smooth FPS though, better than Hunt. Oh yeah, that's such a sad thing about Hunt. I remember back then I barely able to get 60 FPS smoothly. I don't know, maybe now it's much more optimized, but I can barely run Hunt back then. That's why I dropped it, I remember. I was actually having fun with Hunt Showdown. I still have the game, I never refunded it. I actually kept playing it despite barely hitting 60 FPS. Maybe now they improved it a lot, because I don't really hear anyone complain about the performance in that game anymore, so I might give it a try again. But to be fair, they are CryEngine. And CryEngine game looks good. It looks awesome. Fun fact, Skull and Bones is still in development hell. We know. Thanks to Shillup, we know. Even if your GPU is upgraded, the highest FPS is still 60. Oh, they capped it at 60? Not 144? No way. Oh, I didn't know that. That sucks. Oh, that's gonna be a deal breaker for a lot of competitive player. I don't really mind. I'm not super competitive, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people who play competitive games cannot withstand below 144. Like they're adapted to it. For Marauders though, I really want to try it out. I'm probably gonna wait a little bit more for it, and hopefully we can check it out in the future. Because that game looks sick. That game actually looks fucking sick. Ooh, Polyphia. You know what hasn't been updating a lot in the gaming industry? EA. Does anyone still remember EA? Oh boy, ever since Battlefield 2042, they've been AWOL. They've been hiding. Oh man. I feel bad. I feel bad actually. Dude, 2042 can basically ruin Battlefield series reputation. They almost fucked it up, to be fair. Like, man, you can't. They already almost fucked it up with Battlefield 5. And they go even further with 2042. Holy shit. We even played it on stream. Oh my god, that game is beyond saving it. I heard that they still update it, but I'm not sure. How's that gonna help them? Oh, let me grab a bite. Oh, I'm so hungry right now. Crytek's basically owned by interns? Wait, really? I actually never really looked up into Crytek insiders, like what's going on in their company. But you know, despite all the memes and everything, I know they're a bunch of fucking talented dudes. Although I do feel like ever since Crisis, they do have an identity crisis. Hey, I did not meant to do that. Get it? No, but for real though, I didn't meant to do that. Holy shit. Because Crisis, like every time everyone, you know, see Crytek, they always remember Crisis. Even though they also make other games. I'm pretty sure a lot of people who don't play Hunt forgot or don't even know that Hunt is a Crytek game. I am 100% sure. Because it looks nothing like Crisis. Agent of Mayhem almost killed Volition, but 2042 is barely a stain on EA. Not true. EA lose a lot of money because of 2042. Bet. 100%. They lose a shit ton. Albeit, it's not fair to compare it to Volition because Volition is a AA. They're not a AAA. So, you know. Not enough to lay off most of their employees. Yeah, fair. That's true. Which is, you know, good. Because I do wish for all the best for the talent, for the actual talent, which is the employees, the developers, you know? People who actually make the game. I wish them all the fucking best. Because we cannot blame them. They're just doing what they're being told by the direction on the top on what to do with the game. You know? So yeah, it really sucks. It really sucks. DICE until this day is still one of my favorite developer team. Sick, talented. Battlefield 4 still one of my favorite game of all time in terms of like first person shooter. Such a smooth, ahead of its time back in the day. It's just such a good game. Uba so big now. Yes. But I don't get the problem with AOM. What is AOM? Oh, Agent of Mayhem. All of it while everyone else is screeching for Saints Row 5 and comparing it to Overwatch for some reason. Can I be honest with you? I don't know shit about AOM. I actually don't know anything about it. I'm sorry. It's I know the game. I know it exists. But I do not know anything about the game other than that. It's yeah. I don't know. It's just kind of eh. I'm just being honest here. It was kind of eh. Like, looks like a game from PlayStation 2 that got remade. So, like, the idea is, like, very old school. You know, one of those old school open world game where you can, like, go around, jump around and shit like that. I don't know, the execution of that game is very poor. In terms of, like, interesting or unique. But this is also from the perspective of someone who's not a big fan of Saints Row in the first place. I enjoy the game, but it's not one of my favorite games. People who actually played it loved it. Most didn't even give it a chance. Yeah, like I said, it looks very boring. You would probably get into it if you're already a fan of Saints Row. But if you're not, I am not even spending money on that game. I can promise you that. After I saw the trailer, I don't feel like I want to play it at all. You know what I mean? It's like the aesthetic of the game, the overall design. It's just very outdated. I feel like that's the issue with AOM. Now, don't quote me on that, because I don't know. It's just, yeah. You know. Yeah. Oh my god. I feel like that's the biggest issue with AOM. I know they're kind of targeting their audience really well, but they also need to target their outside of their existing audience. And I think they missed on that one. If the presentation is bad, they took big damage. Exactly. And I feel like that's what happened with Agent of Mayhem. The presentation wasn't bad. The world is the prettiest volition ever made. Quote, the prettiest Volition has ever made, not in the whole gaming community. Like, I still remember the trailer because we saw it on the, I forgot, was it E3 or Game Awards? I forgot. I didn't give a damn. It's just very Saints Row. That's it. Like I said, I feel like it's like a fan service for Saints Row fans. Like, you know, oh, you want more like kind of Saints Row, but not really something new? Here, Agent of Mayhem. Boom, done. But that was it. And I'm pretty sure the game was pretty good in terms of like acceptance, right? Agents of Mayhem. I love this song is way too. On Steam, it was. Oh god, it's mixed. Never mind. Okay, I read 3 not recommended review on top of the Steam reviews. TLDR, they basically said it's a fun Saints Row game for Saints Row fans, but it get blends by the hours over time. Fun game for a while, gets more bland with every hour you put into doing the very same variation of missions until you reach the end. It uses real life time for some side quests like Operation, which take longer than it takes you to beat the game. Yeah. 68 Metacritic, 67 OpenCritic, yeah. That's the problem. It wasn't Saints Row enough for the core fan base. Yeah, like I said, what they're trying to do is, you know, using their skill set they get from making Saints Row games, and then trying to get outside of that a little bit by creating a spin-off called Agents of Mayhem that still have the soul, the core soul ideas, the core design of Saints Row, but different enough to attract a different kind of audience at the same time. A good example of that is Nier series. Nier Automata is not a main series. It's a spin-off of Drakengard. Drakengard was pretty popular enough, like it's okay, but Nier overcome. It gets super popular. It was so big, it's more popular than the main game. And it's a spin-off. So, you know, like what they did with Nier is different enough from Drakengard, but it's not too far that, you know, the fans of Drakengard still can enjoy Nier, but at the same time, people who's new to the series can also enjoy Nier. You know, I feel like that's what a lot of game companies, when they try to make a spin-off, what they're trying to achieve, right? So, yeah. Metro is run from Volition, just THQ publish, or Deep Silver. I think it's Deep Silver. But yeah. That's my take on Agent of Mayhem. I'm not talking about the game, once again. I am talking about how it failed to attract new kind of audience in the first place. It just didn't have a good enough face lift, I guess. if we want to use that term. Near, far, wherever. Good one. It's a boomer reference like that. I believe in my heartache. My heart will go on and on. But yeah, if you want to compare it, yeah, Nier is probably one of the best example of a spin-off actually go crazy. But at the same time, I feel like that's also thanks to Yoko Taro and his very twistedly imaginative ideas of him. His storyline is just fucking... I don't know. Nier is a weird game, but it's a good kind of weird game. We finished it on stream as well. Such a weird. It's a song. What's up, girl? Let me check it out. Tomish. I listen to this guy. Disco, yes. How you doing, by the way? What's up? Oh, I know this song. Funky. Woke up 30 minutes ago? Good morning? Well, it's actually good evening, but good morning either way. Hope you had a good sleep. Ooh, the bass line. No. Set a hole for my peep. Why do I have to read this stuff out loud? God damn it. I don't know. I guess. God damn it, Gara.
Eating Mike Tyson's ass.
Nice. Wait, what? Eating Mike Tyson's ass is a Corone thing? I haven't watched Corone at all for a long time. For VTuber stuff, now I kind of keep up with like the either EN or like Indonesia or Asia. Like individually, probably Millie, Hana, Millie. I think that's it. Yeah, that's just those two that I actually watched the live stream. Korone. Alright, what is this?
Eating Mike Tyson's ass. Arigato.
What?
No!
Eating Mike Tyson's ass.
Eating Mike Tyson's ass. Oh no! Eating Mike Tyson's space ass さん。アスって言わないつもりだったのに。
Why?
No! 次はエンドレス。ラムチョップ。ジャムスケエスタツヤ。Eating Mike Tyson's ass. No! Eating
It's so dumb. Holy shit. Eating Mike Tyson's ass. Oh shit. Ah, the super chat guy, of course. Milo Parfait. No, I don't think she went to Philippines. I forgot though. I think she said something to do with camping. So yeah. She's talking about camping or something. I might be wrong as well. Tangina mo. All right. Language. I'm not going to the politics, but we're possibly getting the son of a guy that did martial law to us as president. Oh no. Yeah, I've heard about it because I actually friend with a lot of artists friend from Philippines. So my Twitter is filled with that. And yeah, that looks fucking sucks ass, dude. Like, goddamn. Hopefully it's not, you know, hopefully it has nothing to do with. Well, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, man. Chinese dress, yes, sir. It's kind of pretty much done. Let me color the dress, but that's it. You need reference for the skirt part? I have it. I do have it, but I'm not really. I know, because it's a little bit, you know. It's the reference that I took, that avatar. It's a little bit. It's a little bit. It's a little bit. Yeah. I was thinking about drawing, but I don't think I can. Oh boy. I do not think I can. But yeah, unlucky. Maybe next time, Sid. Maybe next time. Sussy Blue Archive? No, I don't think. Oh Jesus, I don't think it's Blue Archive. What was the avatar from, or based on Sin? Or I guess it's just some random character. It looks really good though, but it's very it's very yeah. Is that how you draw it? I'm not sure. So it might need to be a little bit tight like this. Peepers me win. Binoculus. That's my new favorite emote. Binoculus. For the ultimate booba. I'm also already trying to fix the alarm because some dumbass decided to smoke the smoke detector. So happy. No way. What? Why? What the fuck? Did you fix it? What the fuck is so unfortunate? Sorry about that. Probably indoor smoker? Dude, I don't know, that kind of sucks. Indoor smoking, I don't know, you gotta be responsible about that, you know? I delete the alarm for now until it's no longer my problem in the morning. Go on. Acceptable, acceptable. I don't know about giving her a stocking, actually. Shit. Maybe not. Yeah, that's much better. Alright, quick coloring time. This is a quickie. Okay, that sounds wrong. Okay.
You're great with that dress, Red? Thank you. I'm actually surprised how well this actually is turned out. Actually, not bad. But you guys gotta thank the real hero here, Disaster Pain, for requesting this. Because I actually never thought of drawing Rhea in a Chinese dress. I forgot I actually have a really good reference for that. Thanks to VR chat. But goddamn. This actually looks really nice. Yeah, Pain's not here. But he's a real champion. Don't worry, I'm gonna tag him later on Discord. Once I finish this quest, this sketch. Okay. Let's use that for now. I forget the behind. What do you guys think though? Does it look authentic at least, even though it's a little bit modified? Does it look like an actual, you know, dress? To be fair, it's pretty simple, the one that I make, so it's not really like I'm trying to get out of the board. Too bad Chinese New Year's already passed. I coulda used this. uh So I don't know if you could add a belly bun shape.
I could, but that's gonna be really hard to make it look like actually good. Probably gonna do it with shading. Oh my god, this looks so good. Actually, kind of like this. What? Oh, I do miss some of the lines. Bam, 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 bam. Shit, this is too good to not actually make it looks polished. Uh, 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 uh. It's probably not gonna be a one-day drawing. I might continue this another time with full shading on the next stream. Eh? Why is it... Why is it not filling? Hey, nani? Okay, that's weird. I don't see where did it... Okay, whatever. We just do it manually then. Be-doop-be-doop, be-doop-be-doop, be-doop-be-doop. Mm. 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 Be-doop-be-doop, be-doop-be-doop. Be-doop. I forgot to make the bubble. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Is there a PC game with Chinese dress protagonists? Very specific question there, Onsen. But no, I don't think so. But the closest thing you can get is Ada Wong from Resident Evil 4. She does wear like a red dress. Not necessarily a Chinese dress, but it got that vibe, and you play as her at some point. I think it's a DLC. But yeah. She's probably the closest one. Forget Wong? That's a good memory. I mean, Resident Evil 4 is like one of the best game. That game is gonna stick in my head for so long. Such a fun game. Such a fun experience overall. Holy fuck. This is such a... Why does Rhea look so cute in this one? Chris Redfield is the only waifu? That dude is a fucking legend though. Holy shit. He's been around since the first game, and his character development... We played Resident Evil Village, right? On stream as well. He's so fucking different, man. Like, if we count in all of his character development since Resident Evil 1, he turned from like some fucking, you know, skinny ass looking cops that just like trying to fucking survive and something like that to like an actual brute gym destroyer. Fucking almost, he got very bulky body as well. Like, dude just looks like a fucking killing machine in Resident Evil Village. Such a good character. Development is fucking insane. Bayonetta has Chinese dress outfit, I think. Does she? I know she kind of have like that kind of vibe in terms of the outfit, but I'm not sure if it's like Chinese dress or not. I don't know.